So would you tell us who you are and what you're working on?
So I'm Elise, and I'm a physicist, and right now I'm going to describe the design process that went into a satellite that I worked on.
Well, so would you tell us about what the purpose of making a prototype would be?
So the purpose of making a prototype, there's actually two types of prototypes. So you can have a prototype that's on paper, like a two-dimensional, and then you can also have a 3D prototype. So each one has a different purpose. The two-dimensional one would be useful if you're going to be sending it to someone like electronically, and you want them to see exactly what you're making. And then the 3D one would be something if you're taking it into like pitch to somebody about your design. You can take that with you. Prototype is also important because it can help you maybe see things that you hadn't anticipated as being problems and then correct them.
Great. So if you are thinking about, if you were in the beginning stages of designing your satellite prototype, what would you be needing to think about?
So the main things that you want your prototype to have on it would be dimensions, what type of materials you're going to use, and then of course labeling all the parts because they may not be so obvious to somebody. Because you want a prototype to be able to give to anybody that has no idea what your project is and know what it is about. So you want to make sure that there's as much detail as possible so then you don't have to worry about filling in the gaps through words so that you can just stand on its own.
Great. So could you tell us about your design here?
Okay, so here this is actually our satellite that we built. And we have two views here, which this is helpful that way, so if you're pitching it to somebody, they can see a three-dimensional thing based out of something that's 2D. So here's the top view and then the side view of it. Then we also included the dimensions, which are important, so then somebody can take this and have a sense of size, because otherwise it's just a piece of paper. Then we labeled all the parts, so this is where this would go, kind of in that way. We didn't actually draw out all of these, like the batteries, communication control, because that's not what's important. They're more concerned with this project was how big it was going to be and what are you going to use. And so we did two views, including we have the solid outline is the actual item, and then inside we used like diagonal lines to show that there's stuff within that section.
So when you actually built your satellite, or a prototype of the satellite, how did it end up being different from your original brainstorming sessions?
So, for instance, we didn't anticipate that some of these items that are within these boxes might overlap. So once we actually started building them, we realized, well, you can't buy a computer that's this size. They only sell computers this size. So you kind of start to realize, once you're looking for what you're going to be using, how they're going to fit together, as opposed to just knowing, well, I need these parts in here, and so I just think they're going to work. It gives you that opportunity to go through the process. And it also works to see where you're going to order things from, because you have to start looking at their dimensions, and so it helps out with that too. Unless you're building everything from scratch, which means it's got a lot of money. so I don't know.
Well, thank you so much.
No problem.
What did you think?